Hey everybody, Sadia here, and welcome to another episode of My Roots. Today we are joined by two friends. Over here we have Avram, who is the greatest expert in the Har Hebron region, and also I believe the only Yiddish-speaking guide to the region. And his dog over here, whose name is, you'll never guess, Hund. Behind me you can see the startup community of Avigail, home to 42 families and named after one of David HaMelech's wives, known as Ashes Novel, in a story that takes place in this region over here, but that will be for another time. Well, it's not every day that we get to go out where we're going today, so be sure to enjoy the view as we make our way down the hill and look out for all sorts of interesting things that we're going to be passing along our path. Well, what do we have here? Looks like an interesting cave. Maybe Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is hanging out in here. Let's go on in and check it out. Nope. What a disappointment. No Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai here. Maybe next one. As we're moving along, you're going to notice a lot of these piles of rocks that we see over here to our left. These are called rujub in Arabic, and they mark the boundaries of territory in fields between one family clan and the other. Well, here we got our next interesting thing. We got a couple of more caves over there that, based on the soot on the walls and on the ceilings, definitely had some people living there at some point. And if we look over here, we have a nice deep well that I sure wouldn't want to fall into. We even still got some water there at the bottom, and over here you can see some cutouts in the rock for watering the animals, cutouts which were dug hundreds if not 1,000 plus years ago and still work today. Over here we can see that the harvest is in full swing, and for those of you who are wondering what your oatmeal looked like before it made its way into the can, this is it right over here. Here you can see the plant, and here you can see the actual oat. And of course, what good would a Sfiras Omer hike be without some Omer, the barley strewn all over in bundles all around the field over here. Continuing on with our introduction to the produce of Eretz Yisrael, here we have a couple of baby olive trees. And here we have our chita, our wheat field, not quite ready for picking, but well on its way to get there. Be sure to reach out early for your batch of hand-ground Mount Hebron matzahs from this wheat field. We've reached the main attraction of today's video, Tell Maein, which preserves the name of the ancient Jewish community in Judea of Maon. Across the hill from us over there, you can see that tree-covered mountain is the modern-day Jewish community of Maon, and right next to it, you can see the community of Avigail, where we started our hike from. And here we have our first sign of ancient Jewish settlement here in the region, a Jewish burial cave, which unfortunately has been heavily vandalized by local Muslims in the area. Let's take a closer look. If you look carefully, you can see separate tunnels dug into the caves known in the Mishnah as kuchim. This is how Jews were buried going back 1,000 plus years ago. All that climbing sure made us thirsty. We're going to stop for a little water break, and then we're going to carry on up to the next part of the site over here. This circle over here, with the help of a large rock that is no longer with us, was used back in the day to coarsely grind different grains with the help of a donkey, such as this one over here, or this one, turning the rock in circles and grinding the produce. If we look over here to our left, we can see the ruins of one of the Jewish homes from way back when over here, surrounded by the rapidly growing modern Muslim community of Maein. Far back there in the background, we have the city of Yatta. Here we are at the ruins of the ancient shul of Maon. But first, a little bit of background. 4 cities that mark the border between Yehuda and the Edomites. We have Susia and Samoa down that way. Samoa, which by the way has a fascinating story connecting the past and the present, which we'll get into in a future episode. Maon over here, and Ein Gedi way down that way. In all 4 of these locations, they discovered ruins in different states of repair or disrepair of the ancient shuls over there. Although with time, nature and mankind did their parts to turn the shoal into a pile of ruins, we still have a lot of clues that tell us the history of this place. Starting off over here, we can see an extension of the wall facing north, the direction of Yerushalayim. And if you look really, really good with the help of some super apps, you can even see Hebron and the Maras Machpelah far down that way. Follow me over this way, and we can see over here the original walls of the shoal, which we saw from outside before. And here we see another row of rocks, which over here we see one more level still intact. These are believed to have served as the benches, just like in all ancient shoals, where people sat in benches in a circle around the shoal, everyone looking at the chazan from their place. Fulfilling the Tosefta's instructions, this shoal, like all the others found in the region, is built with the doors facing the east. As we can see over here, the holes which once held the doorposts of the shoal, and that's all that we have left of that part of the building. If that wasn't enough for you, we have one more indicator of the shoal that stood here over 1,000 years ago. There are two very, very important parts of any self-respecting shoal. Number one is a good cookie and coffee room, right? Unfortunately, we didn't find one of those over here. But what we did find, a mikvah. What self-respecting shoal won't have a good, nice, hot mikvah in the basement? And here it is, check it out. If you look up close, you can even see over here the remnants of the plaster used way back when to keep the water inside the walls of the mikvah. To almost complete our Produce of Eretz Yisrael series, here we have a teina, a fig tree, the Maein, the pomegranate tree. No pomegranates just yet, but you can see the beautiful little red buds over there. And our full-grown olive tree. And if you could look up close, you can see the most lenient variant of how big a kazayas is. Not. And to finish off our series, we have the geffen over here, the grapevine, growing right next to this wall, built almost entirely out of bricks that once belonged to the Jewish homes here in the city. Here we are, back in the community of Avigail, safe and sound, tired, but happy. For those of you who are wondering why we had all that extra hardware with us today, the area we visited was a little bit of an extra sketchy side of town, and as the wise man said, you can get a lot further with a kind word and a gun than with a kind word alone. Hey everybody, thank you for watching this episode. Be sure to check us out on Facebook and Instagram at MyRootsIsrael, and stay tuned for some more really cool videos we have coming up next.